Their Eyes Were Watching God by Zora Neale Hurston, Chapter 15. What problem does Janie encounter in this chapter? Janie learned what it felt like to be jealous. A little chunky girl took to picking at play out at tea cake in the field and in the quarters. If he said anything at all, she'd take the opposite side and hit him or shove him and run away to make him chase her. Janie knew what she was up to, luring him away from the crowd. It kept up for 2 or 3 weeks with Nunky, getting bolder all the time. She'd hit Tea Cake playfully, and the minute he so much as tapped her with his finger, she'd fall against him or fall on the ground and have to be picked up. She'd be almost helpless. It took a good deal of handling to set her on her feet again, and another thing, Tea Cake didn't seem to be able to fend her off as promptly as Janie thought he ought to. She began to be snappish a little. A little seed of fear was growing into a tree. Maybe someday Tea Cake would weaken. Maybe he had already given in to secret encouragement, and this was Nunky's way of bragging about it. The other people began to notice too, and that put Janie more on a wonder. So what problem is Janie encountering? So she feels jealous over a girl named Nunky who's flirting with Tea Cake. And one interesting thing to note is that never before in this book has Janie felt jealous. This is the first time that she's felt jealousy. And she describes this jealousy, or Hurston describes this jealousy as a little seed of fear was growing into a tree. And so if you're focusing on the tree symbol, this is another excellent moment to kind of consider how this tree symbol is used throughout the novel. All right, let's keep reading. One day they were working near where the beans ended and the sugar cane began. Janie had marched off a little from Tea Cake's side with another woman for a chat. When she glanced around, Tea Cake was gone, Nunky too. She knew because she looked. "Where's Tea Cake?" she asked Soft Bottom. He waved his hand towards the cane field and hurried away. Janie never thought at all. She just acted on feelings. She rushed into the cane, and about the 5th row down, she found Tea Cake and Nunky struggling. She was on them before either knew. "What's the matter here?" she asked in a cold rage. They sprang apart. "Nothing," Tea Cake told her, standing shamefaced. "Well, what are you doing here? How come you aren't out there with the rest?" "She grabbed my working ticket out of my shirt pocket and I run to get it back," Tea Cake explained, showing the ticket, considerably mauled about in the struggle. Janie made a move to seize Nunky, but the girl fled, so she took out behind her over the humped-up cane rows. But Nunky did not mean to get caught, so Janie went on home. The sight of the field and the other happy people was too much for her that day. She walked slowly and thoughtfully to the quarters. It wasn't long before Tea Cake found her there and tried to talk. She cut him short with a blow, and they fought from one room to the other, Janie trying to beat him, and Tea Cake kept holding her wrists and whatever he could to keep her from going too far. "I believe you've been messing around with her," she panted ferociously. No such a thing," Tea Cake resorted. "I believe you did. Don't care how big a lie get told, somebody can always believe it." They fought on. "You done hurt my heart. Now you come here with a lie to bruise my ears. Turn, go my hand." Which means let go my hands. Janie seethed, but Tea Cake never let go. They wrestled on until they were doped up with their own fumes and emanations, till their clothes had been torn away, till he hurtled her to the floor and held her there, melting her resistance with the heat of his body, doing things with their bodies to express an inexpressible, kissed her until she arched her body to meet him, and they fell asleep in sweet exhaustion. The next morning, Janie asked like a woman, "You still love old Nunky?" "Nah, I never did, and you know it too." "I didn't want her." "Yeah, you did." She didn't say this because she believed it. She wanted to hear his denial. She had to crow over the fallen Nunky. "What would I do with that little chunk of a woman with you around? She ain't no good for nothing except to set up in a corner by a kitchen stove and break wood over her head. You something to make a man forget to get old and forget to die." So how does this problem resolve itself? So Janie catches Tea Cake and Nunky off by themselves, and Nunky had taken Tea Cake's work ticket, and he chased her into the sugar cane. However, Janie assumes the worst when she finds them alone together. So Janie goes home, and back at home, Janie and Tea Cake have a really vehement fight where Janie's trying to hit Tea Cake, and Tea Cake's kind of holding her back, and they're screaming at each other and walking around the house. However, the fight then turns into passionate lovemaking. And so both of them are hot-headed and passionate people, hence kind of how the fight turns out. And Janie likes this passion because it's been lacking in her previous relationships. She likes the fact that they fight. Jody and her never fought, and she likes the fact fact that they're passionately in love, because she didn't feel that for Logan or for Jody. And so my question for you is, what are your thoughts on this? Is this a healthy way to deal with a conflict in a relationship? So they don't really talk through any of the problems. Janie doesn't talk through kind of her worries about Nunky. And so they don't really converse. They just scream at each other, and then they end up making love. And so do you think that this is going to work for them? What are your thoughts on it? And if you're focusing on love, the theme of love for your project, you might kind of explore this chapter as kind of like Hurston's take on like a good way to resolve a conflict, and whether you think Hurston's saying this is a good way or a negative way. All right, chapter 15 is a short one, so we are all done. I'll see you later for chapter 16. Bye.